Saad Aliranwankwo had never imagined her life would come down to a single signature. 3 days. That was all the hospital had given her. 3 days to find money she had never seen in her entire life, or watch her sister slip away. The fluorescent lights above her flickered as she sat in that cold, too quiet clinic, her fingers trembling in her lap. The air smelled sterile, detached, like nothing human was meant to happen here. "This is your last chance," the doctor said flatly, sliding the file toward her. $100,000. The number didn't feel real, but the cost of losing her sister, that felt very real. Her chest tightened. "I'll do it," she whispered, her voice barely holding together. The pen felt heavy in her hand as she signed her name.
Sade Elira Nuangvo.
Just like that, her life was no longer hers. A door opened somewhere behind her. Soft footsteps. Calm. Controlled. Powerful. She didn't need to turn around to feel it. The shift in the room. "The client is here," the nurse said. Client. That word sounded wrong now. Slowly, Saad lifted her eyes. And then she saw him. Lucien Cairo Valmont. Tall. Impossibly composed. The kind of man who didn't walk into rooms. He owned them. His gaze landed on her, sharp, assessing, unreadable. Something in his expression changed. Just slightly. "Her," he said.
No hesitation.
No discussion. Sada's breath caught. "Why her?" The doctor cleared his throat, almost nervous now. "Mr. Valmont, there's just one condition left to discuss." Silence stretched. Heavy. Lucien stepped closer, his presence overwhelming, his voice low, deliberate. "I don't want a clinical procedure." Sada's heart skipped. "I want it done naturally." The words hit her like a slap. Her fingers tightened instinctively, her pulse racing, her thoughts spiraling. "Naturally?" Her voice trembled, barely audible. I've never been with anyone before." For the first time, something flickered in his eyes. Interest. Dangerous, undeniable interest. "Neither have I," he said quietly. The room went still. And suddenly, this wasn't just a contract anymore. So what had she really just agreed to? Before the contract, before his voice, his eyes, that impossible choice, there was only survival. Saad Aliranwankwo had learned early that life did not wait for you to catch your breath. Not when rent was overdue. Not when the lights flickered on the edge of being cut off. And definitely not when your little sister lay in a hospital bed, growing weaker by the day. Marilyn's laughter used to fill their tiny room. Now it came in fragile pieces, interrupted by coughing, by pain, by silence that lasted too long. "Don't worry, Saad," she had whispered once, forcing a smile. "I'll be fine." But Saad had seen the truth in the doctor's eyes. Fine was running out of time. The bills kept coming. Numbers stacking on numbers until they blurred together. Every call from the hospital felt like a countdown, each ring tighter than the last. 3 days. That was all they had given her. 3 days to find a miracle. So she walked into that clinic. Not because she wanted to, but because she had no other choice. The place didn't feel right. The women sitting there, polished, confident, whispering behind manicured hands. They looked at her once, and then again, judging. "Are they really letting someone like her apply?" one muttered. Saad heard it. She heard all of it. But she didn't move, didn't react, because pride didn't pay hospital bills, and dignity wouldn't save her sister. "I'm here for the surrogate program," she said, her voice steady despite everything breaking inside her. The nurse glanced up, surprised, then nodded slowly. "Do you even know who the client is?" Another woman scoffed. Saad shook her head. She didn't care. Money was money. But then someone laughed softly, almost in disbelief. "You really don't know?" A pause. Then the name dropped, heavy, unreal. Lucien Cairo Valmont. The room shifted. Even the air felt different. Saad frowned slightly, confused, until the television mounted on the wall flashed his face. Famous, untouchable everywhere. A billionaire. An icon. A man completely out of her world. And somehow, he was the one she had just signed herself over to. So how did a girl like her end up in the hands of a man like him? The room had been loud just moments ago. Soft laughter, whispered confidence. the quiet arrogance of women who believed they had already been chosen. Then the doors opened, and everything fell silent. Lucien Cairo Valmont didn't rush. He never needed to. Every step he took was measured, controlled, the kind of presence that made people straighten without realizing why. Conversations died mid-sentence. Eyes followed him. Even the air seemed to tighten around him. Saad Aliranwankwo felt it before she even looked up. That shift, that weight. Her fingers curled slightly in her lap, her pulse quickening for reasons she couldn't explain. Don't look, she told herself. But she did. And for a brief, disorienting moment, the world narrowed. His gaze met hers, sharp, searching, unapologetically direct. It lingered, too long. Sada's breath caught, her chest tightening as something unfamiliar stirred beneath her ribs. It wasn't fear. Not entirely. It was something deeper, something that made her want to look away, but she couldn't. Around her, the other women adjusted themselves subtly. Shoulders back, smiles ready, confidence sharpened like a weapon. They were prepared. They belonged here. She didn't. Lucien's eyes moved across the room, slow and deliberate, taking in each candidate. The silence stretched, heavy with expectation. A woman beside Saad leaned forward slightly, her voice honeyed. Mr. Valmont, I believe you'll find I meet every requirement. Another crossed her legs elegantly, offering a practiced smile. I've worked with high-profile clients before. Saad stayed still, quiet, invisible. That was safer. That was easier. And yet, his gaze returned, back to her. It softened just barely before sharpening again, as if he were trying to understand something that didn't make sense. The doctor cleared his throat, breaking the tension. Mr. Valmont, these are our top candidates. Each has been carefully. Her. The word cut through the room. Clean. Final.
Sade blinked.
Her? For a second, no one moved. Then the realization hit. Heads turned. Eyes followed his line of sight and landed on her. No, someone whispered under their breath. That has to be a mistake. Saad felt the heat of their stares, sharp and unforgiving. Confusion flooded her chest, mixing with something dangerously close to panic. Me? She hadn't said a word, hadn't tried to impress him, hadn't even looked like she belonged in the same room. So why? The doctor hesitated. Mr. Valmont, are you certain? We have candidates with more. I said to her. This time, there was no room for argument. Lucien stepped closer. Each step closed the distance between them until he stood directly in front of her. Too close, too intense, too real. Saad swallowed hard, forcing herself to meet his eyes. Up close, he was worse, stronger, overwhelming in a way she couldn't explain. His gaze dropped briefly, tracing her face, her expression, something deeper beneath the surface, like he was searching for something only he could see. And then, quietly, almost to himself, interesting, Sada's heart skipped. What is? She managed, her voice barely steady. His lips curved, just slightly. You don't pretend. The words sent a strange ripple through her. Before she could respond, the room erupted behind them. This is ridiculous, one of the women snapped. She's not even qualified. She doesn't belong here. Saad flinched at the sharpness of it. But Lucien didn't even turn, didn't acknowledge them. To him, they no longer existed, only her. And that made it worse, because now every eye in the room burned with the same question screaming inside her own mind. Why her? And more terrifying than that, what had he seen in her that no one else had? The room emptied quickly after his decision. Whispers trailed behind the others as they left. Sharp, bitter, disbelieving. The door clicked shut, and suddenly it was quiet again. Too quiet. Saad sat there, her heart still racing, her thoughts tangled. Why her? The doctor cleared his throat, shuffling the papers as if trying to regain control of something that had already slipped away. Well, he said, forcing a thin smile. Now that the selection has been made, we can proceed with the standard surrogacy process.
No.
Lucien's voice was calm, flat, final. The doctor froze.
I'm sorry?
Lucien didn't look away from Saad. There will be an additional clause. Something in his tone made Sada's chest tighten. A natural conception. The words didn't land immediately. They hovered. Then, they hit. Sada's breath caught, her fingers gripping the edge of the chair. What? The doctor blinked, clearly caught off guard. Mr. Valmont, that's highly irregular. Our program is strictly clinical. I'm not interested in clinical. Silence stretched. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Saad shook her head slowly, her voice trembling despite her effort to steady it.
No.
I can't do that. Her eyes dropped, her throat tightening. That's not what I signed up for. For a moment, nothing. Then Lucien finally looked at her fully. Not assessing this time. Not distant. Something else. Something deeper, darker. Then don't sign, he said simply. The words should have given her relief. Freedom. But they didn't. Because freedom didn't come with $100,000. And freedom wouldn't save her sister. As if summoned by the thought, her phone buzzed in her bag. Once. Twice.
Urgent.
Her heart sank. I need to take this, she whispered, already knowing. She stepped out into the hallway, her hands shaking as she answered. Hello, Miss Nwankwo. The voice on the other end said, clinical and cold. This is a reminder that your sister's surgery payment is due. We haven't received the funds. Saad swallowed hard. I just need a little more time. Please. A pause. Then,
I'm sorry.
3 days was already an extension. If payment isn't made, the procedure will be cancelled. Cancelled. The word echoed. Loud. Final. No, please. Her voice cracked. She won't survive without it.
I'm sorry.
The line went dead. Saad stood there, frozen, the phone slipping slightly in her grip. 3 days. No more chances. No more time. Her chest tightened painfully, her vision blurring as everything closed in around her. This wasn't about her anymore. It never had been. Slowly, she turned back. The door felt heavier now, the air inside thicker. Lucien hadn't moved. He was exactly where she left him, watching, waiting, as if he already knew the answer. Saad stepped forward, each movement slower than the last, her heart pounding so loudly she could barely hear her own thoughts. Her voice came out softer this time, quieter, broken in a way she couldn't hide anymore. I'll do it. The words hung between them, irreversible. Her fingers curled tightly at her sides, nails pressing into her skin as if trying to ground herself. I'll agree to your condition, she added, forcing the words past the lump in her throat. Just promise me the money will be paid. Lucien's gaze darkened slightly, something unreadable passing through his expression. Done. One word. That was all it took. A life for a life. A body for a chance. Saad exhaled slowly, but there was no relief in it. Only weight. Only consequence. Because now, this wasn't just a contract anymore. So what happens when a decision you can't undo becomes something you can't survive? The elevator ride felt longer than it should have. Too quiet, too still, too final. Saad stood with her hands clasped in front of her, eyes fixed on the glowing numbers as they climbed higher and higher. Each floor felt like a step she couldn't take back. Beside her, Lucien Cairo Valmont said nothing. He didn't need to. His presence filled the space. Steady, controlled, unreadable. A soft chime. The doors opened. Luxury spilled out in silence. The suite was vast, warm lights, glass walls stretching into a skyline that glittered like a world Saad had never belonged to. Everything looked untouched, perfect, like it had been waiting for this, for them. Her steps slowed as she entered, her breath catching slightly. I've never been somewhere like this. Lucien watched her, not the room. I know. 2 words. Quiet, certain. Saad turned slightly, unsure what to do with her hands, her thoughts, her racing heart. This is just a deal, she reminded herself. Just a deal. Are you sure about this? She asked softly, her voice barely steady. Once we start, there's no going back. For the first time, something shifted in him. A pause. Then he stepped closer. Not rushed, not forceful, careful. I've never wanted anyone before, he said, his voice lower now, stripped of its usual distance. Not like this. Saad blinked, caught off guard. What do you mean? His jaw tightened slightly, as if the words didn't come easily. I've been with women, he admitted. But I've never felt anything.
No decire.
No connection. His eyes lifted to hers again. And this time, there was no control in them. Until you. The words settled between them, heavy, undeniable. Sada's breath hitched, her chest tightening as something unfamiliar stirred inside her. Confusion. Fear. Something warmer she didn't understand. That doesn't make sense, she whispered. I know. A faint, almost humorless exhale. That's what makes it dangerous. Dangerous. The word lingered. But he didn't step away. Neither did she. The space between them disappeared slowly, naturally, like something inevitable pulling them closer. Sada's hands trembled slightly as she looked up at him, her voice softer now. This is my first time. Felt important to say it, to acknowledge it, to hold on to something real in the middle of something that didn't feel real at all. Lucien's expression shifted again, gentler this time. I know. His hand lifted slowly, hesitating just for a second, before brushing lightly against her arm. Not demanding, not claiming, just there. Sada's breath caught. The touch was simple, but it sent something through her, something she couldn't explain, something that made this feel like more than it should be. Tell me if you want me to stop, he said quietly. She nodded, but didn't move away, didn't stop him, because somewhere between the fear and the reason she was here, there was something else now. Something neither of them had planned for. Something neither of them understood. And as the distance between them finally disappeared, as the moment unfolded in quiet, fragile steps, one thought lingered in Sada's mind. When this night is over, will she still be just a contract to him? Or something he won't be able to forget? Morning came too quietly. Sad woke to warmth, to silence, to the unfamiliar weight of something she couldn't name. For a moment she didn't move. Didn't breathe, as if shifting would break whatever fragile thing still lingered in the room. Her eyes slowly opened. The skyline was still there, glowing softer now in the early light. The sheets beneath her were still warm, but the space beside her, empty. Her heart stuttered. She sat up quickly, her gaze sweeping the room. Lucien? Nothing. No answer. Just silence. The kind that settled too deeply, too suddenly. Like he had never been there at all. Sad swallowed hard, her chest tightening as reality crept in. Of course, it was a contract, not a promise, not a beginning, a deal. The word felt colder now. He had told her, no attachments, no expectations. So why did it feel like something had been left behind and taken from her at the same time? She wrapped her arms around herself, exhaling slowly as she forced her thoughts back into place. This is what you agreed to. Nothing more. By the time she stepped out of the hotel, the world had already returned to normal. Noise, movement, indifference. Her small apartment greeted her with its familiar quiet. The peeling paint, the worn couch, the faint scent of medicine that never quite left the air anymore. Marilyn looked up from the bed, her face lighting up weakly. Sad, you're back. That smile. That was why she did this. Sad forced one of her own, softer, steadier. I told you I would fix everything, she whispered, brushing her sister's hair gently. And she had. The payment was already made. The surgery would happen. Everything was supposed to be okay now. So why didn't it feel like it? Days passed. Slowly. Too slowly. Sad tried to return to herself, to routine, to something familiar. But it didn't fit anymore. Because every quiet moment, every pause, every breath, she thought of him, of the way he had looked at her, of the way his voice had softened, just slightly, of the way he had said her name. She shook her head once, trying to push it away. It didn't matter, couldn't matter, because he was already gone. Across the city, in a place far removed from everything Sad knew, Lucien Cairo Valmont stood in front of a glass wall, the skyline stretching endlessly before him. But he didn't see it. Not really. His jaw tightened slightly, his hand resting against the cold surface as his thoughts replayed something he couldn't shut off. Her voice, her hesitation, the way she had looked at him, not with expectation, not with calculation, but something else, something real. His chest tightened faintly, annoying, unnecessary. He had done what was required. The contract was clear. Distance was necessary. So why was she still here? He exhaled sharply, dragging a hand through his hair as if that could clear the noise in his head. Didn't, because no matter how far he stepped away, no matter how much space he put between them, he couldn't forget the one thing that had never happened before. He had felt something, and it had been with her. His gaze darkened slightly. "Find her," he said suddenly, his voice low but firm. Pause behind him. "Sir." Lucien didn't turn. "I want to know where she is." Because distance was supposed to make things easier. So why did it feel like losing something he didn't even realize he had? It started with something small. A missed day. Then another. Saad told herself it was stressful. Lack of sleep. Too many thoughts crowding her mind, refusing to settle. But deep down, she already knew. Her hands trembled slightly as she stood in the tiny bathroom, the silence pressing in around her. The world felt too still, like it was waiting. 2 lines. Clear. Unmistakable. Her breath caught. For a moment, she just stared. Unable to move. Unable to think. "I'm pregnant," she whispered. The words fragile, unreal. Her fingers instinctively moved to her stomach, resting there as if she could feel something already. Fear came first. Sharp. Immediate. What had she done? Then, slowly, something else followed. Something softer. Warmer. A fragile kind of hope she hadn't expected. This wasn't just a contract anymore. This was real. A life. His child. Their child. Saad exhaled slowly, her heart racing as a thought pushed its way through everything else. He should know. Lucien deserved to know. Maybe, just maybe, this would change something. The way he had looked at her. The way he had spoken that night. It hadn't felt like nothing. Couldn't have been nothing. Her fingers tightened slightly as she reached for her phone, her pulse quickening with every second. She hesitated, then dialed. It rang once, twice. No answer. She swallowed hard, trying again. Still nothing. A small knot formed in her chest. Maybe he's busy. Maybe. The television in the other room flickered on suddenly, the volume low but enough to catch her attention. Breaking news this morning. Saad stepped out slowly, her phone still in her hand. Billionaire athlete Lucien Cairo Valmont has officially confirmed his engagement. Her heart stopped. The screen filled with his face. Familiar. Unreachable. Standing beside him. A woman. Beautiful. Elegant. Perfect. The kind of woman who belonged in his world. Sources say the wedding is expected to take place later this year. Saad felt something inside her shift. Crack. No. The word barely left her lips. Her grip on the phone loosened, her thoughts unraveling too fast to hold on to. Engaged? Her chest tightened painfully as the memory of that night rushed back. His voice, his touch, the way he had said her name like it meant something. Had it all been nothing? Just part of the deal? Her hand moved slowly back to her stomach, this time not out of wonder, but confusion, fear, because suddenly, everything felt different. He had a fiancée, a future, a life that didn't include her, and yet, she was carrying his child. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she blinked them back, forcing herself to breathe through the weight pressing down on her chest. What was she supposed to do now? Tell him? Stay silent? Walk away? Her voice came out in a whisper, barely steady. What am I to you now? And more terrifying than that, what would he do when he found out? The first camera flash felt like lightning. Blinding. Suddenly. Violent. Saad froze mid-step, her heart jumping into her throat as voices erupted around her. There she is. Miss Nwankwo. Are you Lucien Valmont's mistress? Did you sleep with him while he was engaged? The questions came fast, sharp, merciless. She turned instinctively, panic rising as more cameras appeared. More people closing in, their faces eager, hungry. I don't understand, she stammered, her voice shaking. Please, I think you have the wrong. Don't lie, someone snapped. We have proof you were at the hotel that night. Her chest tightened. Hotel. That night. How? Her fingers curled protectively against her stomach as the crowd pressed closer. Flashes exploding over and over again. She's pregnant too. Is it his? Homewrecker. Gold digger. Each word hit harder than the last. Saad shook her head, stepping back, her breath coming unevenly. No, it's not like that. You don't understand. But they didn't want to understand. They wanted a story, and she had already been cast as the villain. Across the city, the same story played out on every screen. Lucien stood in a boardroom, the noise of the reporters echoing through the television as the footage replayed again and again. Saada's face, terrified, cornered, alone. His jaw tightened, something sharp flashing in his eyes as his hand clenched at his side. "This needs to stop," he said, his voice low, controlled. "It will," a calm voice replied from across the table. "As long as you don't interfere." Lucien's gaze snapped up. His mother, elegant, composed, untouchable. "This is a minor distraction," she continued smoothly. "Your engagement is far more important. The Valmont name is on the line, along with several billion-dollar partnerships." Lucien's expression darkened. "She's being attacked. She'll survive." The words were cold, dismissive. "She's not your concern." Silence stretched, heavy, because they both knew that wasn't true. His hand flexed slightly, his thoughts pulling back to Saad, her voice, her hesitation, the way she had looked at him that night like she was trusting him with something fragile. And now, she was standing alone in front of the world. Because of him. "Say nothing," his mother added quietly. "Deny nothing. Confirm nothing. The situation will fade." Lucien didn't respond, because every second he stayed silent. The damage grew. Back on the street, Saad finally broke free from the crowd, her steps unsteady as she pushed through. Her vision blurred by tears she refused to let fall. She didn't stop running until the noise faded, until the voices disappeared, until it was just her again, alone. Her chest rose and fell unevenly as she leaned against a wall, her hand trembling as it moved slowly to her stomach. "This was a mistake," she whispered, her voice breaking under the weight of it all. "Not the baby, never that, but everything else. The deal, the night, him." Because now it was clear. She had been nothing more than a secret, one he was willing to protect by saying nothing at all. Her eyes closed briefly, pain tightening in her chest as something inside her shifted, hardened. "I won't do this," she said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more him. So she turned away from the life that had almost consumed her. But the question lingered, heavy and unresolved. If she walks away now, will he finally come after her? Or let her disappear like she never mattered? The clinic looked different this time. Colder, harsher, like it remembered her. Saad sat in the same chair, hands folded tightly in her lap, her gaze fixed on nothing. The hum of machines filled the silence, steady and indifferent, like the world didn't care what choice she was about to make. "I just need it to stop," she whispered, her voice hollow. The nurse gave a small nod, used to this, detached from it. "You're early enough. It's a simple procedure." Simple. Saada's fingers pressed lightly against her stomach, her throat tightening. There was nothing simple about this. But what choice did she have? Her life had become something she couldn't control, couldn't explain, couldn't survive. Everywhere she turned, judgment, shame, silence, and him, always him, his voice, his touch. The way he had looked at her like she mattered, only to disappear when it mattered most. Her chest tightened painfully. "This isn't fair," she murmured, blinking back the tears threatening to spill. "I can't do this alone." The door opened. Footsteps. Fast. Uncontrolled.
Saad.
Her name. Low.
Urgent.
Familiar. Her heart stopped. Slowly, she turned. Lucien Cairo Valmont stood there, breath uneven, eyes locked onto her like he had been searching for her everywhere. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence stretched, fragile, heavy with everything that had been left unsaid. "You're leaving," he said finally, his voice tight. "You were going to do this without telling me." Saad shook her head, standing abruptly, her emotions rising too fast to contain. "What was I supposed to do, Lucien?" Her voice broke. "Call you? Wait for you? You didn't even defend me." His jaw tightened. "I couldn't. Couldn't? Or wouldn't?" The words hit harder than she intended. But she didn't take them back. Because they were true. His gaze darkened, something raw surfacing beneath his control. You think I wanted to stay silent? You think I didn't see what they were doing to you? Then why didn't you stop it? She demanded, her voice trembling now. Why didn't you say anything? Because it would have destroyed everything. The answer came sharp, immediate, but it only made her chest ache more. Saad let out a broken laugh, shaking her head slowly. Exactly. There it was. The truth. She had never been worth the risk. Her hand moved instinctively to her stomach again, her voice softening, cracking. I can't bring a child into this, she whispered. Into your world. Into your silence. Lucien stepped closer, his voice dropping, urgent now. This isn't just your decision. It is my body, she shot back, tears slipping free now. My life. My consequences. And my child. The words landed heavily between them.
Sade frås.
His child. Not a contract. Not a deal. Lucien's voice softened slightly, but the intensity didn't fade. I felt something that night, Saad. Something I've never felt before. And you think I can just walk away from that? Her heart betrayed her. Just for a second. But she shook her head, forcing herself back. Feelings don't change reality, she whispered. You still have a fiancé, family, a life that doesn't include me. A pause. Then, I don't want that life. The words were quiet, but they shook something deep inside her. Sada's breath caught, her thoughts colliding as she looked at him. Really looked at him. For the first time, he didn't look untouchable. He looked torn, real, and that made it harder, so much harder. Her voice came out softer now, uncertain. Then what do you want from me? And more terrifying than that, was she ready for whatever answer he gave? Lucien didn't answer immediately. For once. The man who always seemed so certain hesitated. Then he exhaled slowly, his gaze steady on hers. My engagement, he said, voice low, controlled, but no longer distant, was never my choice. Sada's heart tightened. He stepped closer, not enough to touch, just enough to close the space between truth and doubt. It's a contract, he continued. A merger. My family's influence, her family's money. It was decided long before I had a say. Saad shook her head faintly, her voice fragile. That doesn't change anything. It changes everything, he said, sharper now. Because I never loved her. The words lingered, heavy, real. I tried to feel something, he added quietly. Anything. But there was nothing. Until you. Sada's breath caught again, her emotions pulling in two directions at once. Hope and fear. You didn't say that when it mattered, she whispered. Lucien's jaw tightened, regret flickering across his face. I know. A pause. I was protecting the wrong things. Silence stretched between them, fragile, like one wrong word could break it completely. Then, I'm ending it.
Sade blinked.
What? The engagement, the deals, all of it, he said firmly. I don't care what it costs. Her heart pounded, disbelief creeping in. You can't just walk away from something like that. I can, he said, and I will. Before she could respond, voices erupted outside. Loud, chaotic. The clinic doors burst open, reporters flooding in, cameras flashing instantly as they spotted them. Lucien, is it true you've been hiding a secret relationship? Is she the woman carrying your child? Saad flinched, instinctively stepping back. Not again. Not this. But this time, Lucien didn't stay silent. His hand reached for hers. Firm. Certain.
Sade frås.
Look at me, he said quietly. She did. And for the first time, there was no hesitation in him. No distance. No walls. Just the truth. Lucien turned to the cameras, his grip on her hand tightening slightly. Not to control, but to anchor. Yes. The word cut through the noise. She's the one I chose. Gasps, shouts, chaos. But he didn't stop. And I'm the father of her child. Sada's breath caught, her heart racing as the world seemed to tilt around her. I was never in love with anyone else, he continued, his voice steady despite the storm around them. And I'm not going to pretend anymore. Every word felt like a line being crossed, a bridge burned, A life rewritten. For her. For them. Lucien turned back to Saad then, the noise fading into nothing as his focus returned completely to her. I'm choosing you, he said, softer now. Not because of the contract. Not because of the child. A pause. Because I can't walk away from you. Sada's chest tightened, her emotions crashing into each other. Everything she had felt, everything she had feared, everything she had tried to bury. This was what she had wanted, wasn't it? For him to choose her, for him to fight, for him to stay. But now that it is happening, why did it feel so overwhelming? So uncertain? Her voice trembled slightly. And what happens when everything falls apart? She asked. When your family turns on you? When your world collapses? Will you still choose me then? Lucien didn't hesitate this time. I already have. The words settled deep. Too deep. Saad looked down briefly. At their joined hands. At the life growing inside her. At the future standing right in front of her. Then back at him. At everything he was risking. Everything he was offering. And everything she could lose. Her lips parted slightly. Her answer hanging on the edge of everything. Would she trust him, or walk away before he could break her completely? Morning came softer this time. Not cold. Not empty. Warm. Saad stood by the window, sunlight spilling across the room. Her hand resting gently over her stomach as she watched the city wake beneath her. Felt different now. Not like something distant, but something she was finally a part of. Behind her, quiet footsteps. Familiar. Lucien didn't say anything at first. He rarely did, not when the moment mattered. His presence settled around her instead. Steady. Certain. Are you okay? He asked softly. Saad exhaled, a small smile touching her lips as she nodded. I think I finally am. Hadn't been easy. Nothing about them had been. The headlines had exploded overnight. Deals had collapsed. His family had turned their backs. Everything he had built, shaken. But he hadn't stepped away. Not once. And that was what changed everything. Saad turned slowly, meeting his gaze. There was still power in him. Still that quiet control the world feared. But now there was something else too. Something only she had ever seen. Any regrets? She asked, her voice light. But the question was real. Lucien stepped closer, his hand finding hers naturally, like it had always belonged there. Only one, he said. Her brows lifted slightly. I should have chosen you sooner. Her heart softened at that, the last of her doubts fading into something calmer, something stronger. This wasn't a contract anymore. It wasn't survival. It wasn't desperation. It was a choice, a life they were building. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Saad glanced down as she felt a small movement beneath her hand, her breath catching in quiet wonder. Lucien noticed instantly, his expression shifting, something almost rare crossing his face. A smile. You felt that? He asked. She nodded, her voice softer now. They're reminding me they're here. Even now, it still felt unreal. 2 lives, 2 futures, 2 reasons everything had changed. Lucien's hand moved over hers, resting gently against her stomach. His touch careful, reverent in a way no one would have believed of him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They didn't need to, because everything that had once been uncertain, everything that had once been forced, had become something real, something chosen. Saad leaned into him slightly, her eyes drifting back to the city, her voice quiet but sure. We really survived all of that. Lucien's grip on her hand tightened just enough. Not survived, he murmured. A pause. Then, we started something. Saad smiled at that. A soft, steady kind of happiness she had never known before, because for the first time, she wasn't afraid of what came next. And as the world moved on outside their window, as the past finally loosened its hold, one truth remained simple and certain. Some deals are meant to break, so something real can finally begin.